Whatever the advantage is for the new rule, someone will complain about it. Because
the NFL has produced some of the most unforgettable moments in sports history. From the Immaculate Reception to the Minneapolis Miracle, football fans often know the names of many of the league's biggest plays by heart. Unfortunately, the NFL has also had its fair share of controversy over the years as well, particularly in the way the league enforces certain rules. On more than one occasion, big games have been directly impacted by rule changes, and many of these are still hotly debated by fans to this day. In today's video, we take a look at some of the NFL's most controversial rule changes, and how they've impacted the game forever. The Kickoff Touchback Rule. When Devin Hester played for the Bears and Josh Cribbs played for the Browns, they were both a consistent threat to take it to the house every time they touched the ball. If a team had a player like that, it added an extra dimension to the game and kept opposing special teams units on their toes. But truly dangerous return men might soon be a thing of the past. Starting this upcoming season, if players call for and successfully make a fair catch behind the 25-yard line on kickoffs and after safeties, referees will place the ball on the 25-yard line. In a press conference discussing why the kickoff rule was changed, Falcons CEO Rich McKay was short and to the point. At the end of the day, health and safety drives this, he said. The concussion rate has trended up in a pretty dramatic fashion. Between players choosing not to run the ball back on kickoffs and the NFL changing the rule, kickoff returns have been greatly diminished, if not eliminated entirely. Who knows if or when we'll ever see another return man who can electrify the crowd. 5-yard bump rule. Today's NFL is definitely a pass-first football league. But this wouldn't be the case today if it wasn't for the 5-yard bump rule. The 5-yard bump rule, also known as the Mel Blount rule, prevents defensive backs being physical with receivers if they're 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Mel Blount, a Hall of Fame cornerback for the Steelers, was infamous for bumping, grabbing, and imposing his physicality on receivers through their entire route, which made it incredibly difficult for them to get open. The rule's institution in 1978 greatly limited what he could do to cover wideouts, and it paved the way for today's pro-style offenses. With the 5-yard bump rule in place, it's now much easier for offenses to light up the scoreboard. It's now common to see quarterbacks hit 4,000 or more passing yards in a season, and for teams to average 30 or more points per game on a consistent basis. Beyond that, the rule has also weakened running games, making a strong ground game less necessary than it used to be in favor of a high-octane passing attack. If the NFL continues to head in the current direction, running backs may be one day seen as obsolete. The game has dramatically changed thanks to this one rule. Horse collar tackle. Like the kickoff rule earlier on this list, the rule against horse collar tackles was largely driven by player safety. Before 2005, a horse collar tackle or grabbing a ball carrier by the back of their shoulder pads near their neck was perfectly legal. But following the 2004 season, the NFL decided to ban it altogether. 4 major injuries were caused by Cowboys safety Roy Williams that year, who was well known for using the horse collar tackle to bring down opposing players. The worst injuries that can happen from this kind of tackle are torn ACLs and broken legs. Terrell Owens, Steve Smith, Musa Smith, and Tyrone Calico were receivers who all suffered broken legs in 2004 thanks to horse collar tackles. Fans may be justified in complaining about certain rule changes, but the banning of horse collar tackles is absolutely necessary. But what about the next rule on this list? Blindside block. Football is an inherently violent and brutal game. Players at every level know what they're getting into when they set foot on the gridiron, but sometimes they never see what's coming. Say hello to the blindside block. The blindside block, or when a player blocks an opposing player with his helmet, forearm, or shoulder, was part of football for years, until it was officially banned in 2019 to protect, you guessed it, player safety. While blindside blocks fired up the fans in the past, the NFL aimed to reduce concussions by banning this type of block. The most notable incident of an injury from a blindside block was when Keith Rivers, a former linebacker for the Bengals, was blindsided by Steelers receiver Hines Ward. Rivers was once a promising linebacker out of USC and was chosen by Cincinnati 9th overall in the 2008 draft, in the hope that he would one day be the future leader of their defense. But those dreams came to a screeching halt during a game against Pittsburgh in his rookie season. The Bengals not only lost badly to the Steelers in blowout fashion, but to add insult to injury, Rivers suffered a broken jaw thanks to the blindside block by Ward. Rivers' career was effectively ended that day. While he would recover and play for 5 more seasons, he was never the same after that hit. NFL overtime changes. You wanted controversy, and this one's got it in spades. The NFL changed their overtime rules following the 2021 season. In that season's AFC Championship game, the Kansas City Chiefs and Buffalo Bills put on a show for the ages, going back and forth in a seesaw battle that's still talked about to this day. But the game itself is perhaps more talked about for how it ended than anything else. After a 4-quarter shootout between the league's top offense in Kansas City and Buffalo's #1 defense ended up tied at 36, what happened next will go down in NFL lore. The coin toss usually doesn't have any impact on the game other than determining who gets the ball first. But the coin flip by head referee John Hussey that night at Arrowhead made all the difference. Why? Josh Allen and the Bills never got a chance to touch the football in overtime. Following Kansas City's 42-36 victory, the outcry from millions of fans, as well as from many of the biggest names in sports, prompted the NFL to change their playoff overtime rules. Now both offenses get a chance to possess the ball at least once in overtime. If the game stays tied after each team scored a touchdown in overtime, the next score after that would win the game. But this is probably no consolation to Bills fans after one of the most excruciating losses in NFL history. Tuck rule. Misery loves company. Bills fans who watched the 2021 AFC Championship and Raiders fans who watched the infamous Tuck rule game would probably be drinking buddies. The Patriots might never have broken through and begun their dynasty if the Tuck rule had been interpreted differently. But on a snowy Foxborough night in January 2002, history would be made forever during what would become an instant classic. The Patriots and Raiders waged a back-and-forth battle in blizzard conditions, and Oakland held a 13-10 lead with 1 minute 50 remaining in the game. The Pats were slightly out of field goal range and opted to call a pass. Tom Brady dropped back and saw no open receivers. So, he pump faked before tucking the ball under his arm just as his former Michigan teammate Charles Woodson blitzed him. The ball was jarred loose by Woodson's hit and recovered by linebacker Greg Bikert, seemingly sealing a Raider victory. However, upon further review by referee Walt Coleman, the call was made as an incomplete pass, and the ball was given back to the Patriots. And the rest was history. The Patriots not only went on to win the game, but they also went on to win their first Super Bowl by defeating the Rams in Super Bowl 36. Use of the helmet rule. This rule is essentially the closest we'll get to targeting in the NFL. While targeting in college football is a penalty that punishes helmet-to-helmet hits, the use of the helmet rule forbids a player from not only making head-to-head contact, but any contact when leading with the crown of their helmet. The penalty can be called on both offensive and defensive players, and the penalty itself is 15 yards and an automatic first down. If referees determine that the helmet-to-helmet hit could have been avoided, it's a 15-yard penalty and an ejection. Players and coaches both had different opinions on the rule. Vikings safety Harrison Smith, Seahawks linebacker Bobby Wagner, and Patriots coach Bill Belichick all were either indifferent or okay with the rule change. But one of the league's most outspoken players, former Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman, let the world know that he wasn't happy with the rule change in 2018 by tweeting about it. There is no make adjustment to the way you tackle. Even in a perfect form tackle, the body is led by the head, he said. The rule is idiotic and should be dismissed immediately. When you watch rugby players tackle, they are still led by their head. We'll be flag football soon. Roughing the passer. If there's one penalty that drives fans crazy, it's this one. Roughing the passer, especially with how inconsistently it's been called, is probably the NFL's most controversial penalty right now. While player safety certainly is important, when a questionable roughing the passer call has the power to directly influence the outcome of a game, something doesn't add up. Perhaps the two most infamous examples of roughing the passer in recent memory were Clay Matthews against the Vikings and William Hayes against the Raiders in September 2018. Matthews, who was playing for the Packers at the time, sacked Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins by ducking his head and wrapping Cousins up in a textbook tackle. He was trying to avoid helmet-to-helmet contact and still got flagged on the play. As for Williams Hayes, he unfortunately blew his ACL because he tried to avoid landing on Derek Carr with his full body weight. The awkward positioning and ACL tear caused him to miss the rest of the 2018 season. Rules are helpful in keeping everyone safe and ensuring a fair game. But no matter how much the NFL tries to improve things, there will always be fierce debates and heated arguments amongst fans when getting into gray areas like this. What do you think? Did we get it right? What do you think the most controversial NFL rule is? Sound off in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, smash the like and subscribe button for more great content. As always, thanks for watching.